She rides, let loose upon the world. She is the night, and my loneliness and bondage she's blessed. Hey, sand runs down her back. She rises from the daylight and shade. She rides the night. She rides the night. She slides down inside your
Water. That's what I'm getting at, water. Mandrake, water is the source of all life. 7/10 of this Earth's surface is water. Why do you realize that 70% of you is water?
Oh, Lord.
And as human beings, you and I need fresh, pure water to replenish our precious bodily fluids.
Yes.
Are you beginning to understand?
Yes.
Mandrake. Mandrake, have you never wondered why I drink only distilled water or rainwater and only pure grain alcohol?
Well, it did occur to me, Jack, yes.
Have you ever heard of a thing called fluoridation? Fluoridation of water?
Yes, I have heard of that, Jack, yes. Yes.
Well, do you know what it is?
No, I don't know what it is now.
Do you realize that fluoridation is the most monstrously conceived and dangerous communist plot we have ever had to face?
Welcome, O wanderers of the wavelength, to the inner sanctum of the chilluminatti. You didn't find us by accident. You were tuned in. Behind this veil of shadow and signal, we gather, not to follow, but to question. So light your candle and lean back 33 degrees. Close the blinds and forget what they told you was real.
everybody.
It's Saturday night and the chilluminatti is on the air. Rockin' Rio. Are you there? I have. Excellent. There goes Randy Hansen Band. Machine Gun.
It's over, only families apart.
Somehow, some way you found it is Ground Zero Plus, home of Ground Zero. My name's Jimmy. That cool dude over there, the good-looking dude with the ponytail. Are you a sensitive ponytail dude?
I'm not very sensitive.
But you do have a ponytail.
I do.
I know, man. Remember back in the 90s when everyone hated sensitive ponytail dudes?
Well, I do it to keep the hair out of my face when I'm working, generally.
I know. But that's the thing about hair. Yeah. For me, the thing is, I got long hair. I want to let it flow. You know what I mean? I want it to be whoo. I don't want to put it in a ponytail. If I'm putting it in a ponytail, I might as well cut it. You know what I mean? So I like.
Yeah, I mean, I let it down when I'm not doing anything.
When you're at the house and no one can see you, you're all alone.
Well, I mean, I let it down when I go out too. It's just
you do.
For work purposes. When you're hanging upside down under a dashboard,
yeah, it's not safe.
The last thing you want is a face full of hair.
Safety first, man. Safety first. Well, man, last night was a barn burner. If you didn't catch it, you can find it over on the End of the Microcosm of Jimmy Jean. You can find it on the End of the Microcosm page on the Ground Zero Plus website. And the latest show should be there for you. And, hey, Jason Stone was on here last night. We talked about the sentient world simulation. And we talked a little bit about the behavioral modification overlay that we've detected since finding out about level 5 flagging, and we'd been flagged and so on and so forth. I mean, you can find out just simply by going back and listening to these last couple 3 shows we've been doing, and so we've reached a certain point, and so I got wind of something from Dr. Rowe, a good friend of the show that comes on quite a bit, and he's over in Spain now, and so he's not doing radio anymore, but he sent me this thing, and I looked into it, and it looked interesting to me, so I started doing some research on it, and it turns out the technology for the concept of some dude's post on a posting board, a no-name dude who has no name. He's an anonymous person. But he put this forward, and so it was interesting, and so it correlated to something that I remembered, which was a while back, there was a guy who got arrested for hacking Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
And he got in trouble, big trouble, and it was because he had released some of these scenes from the Grand Theft Auto game that was coming out. Now, Rio, you play games, and
I do.
So I want to tell everybody I put together some research, and I wrote an article, and I submitted the article to MIT Review. I also submitted it to Wired Magazine, and so the title of the article in Wired Magazine is "I Think You're Being Played." Because from the research that I've done over the past week and some of the stuff Rio's done, what we've come up with is it appears that what we were talking about last night with this Picus startup capital firm that's got all these different integration points with the companies that it's funded, the behavioral modification system just seems to be in place. So the idea of your emotions and behaviors being captured inside of a video game while you're experiencing the game, you're running around, you're blowing people's heads off, you're stabbing people in the neck, you're pimping hoes, you're stealing cars, you know what I mean? It takes a certain kind of, person to do all that, right? So
right, yeah.
And believe me, I'm not saying anything against video games, man. Have at it, man. Have a good time. Be yourself or whatever. Enjoy. Blow as many heads off as you want. I mean, some people need to blow heads off in video games just simply because life is, people can't do it in real life, so they go and do it in the game, And so that's the thing, is you're in this fantasy type reality reel. You know what I mean? You can just be in there killing people and stabbing people in the neck and all that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the games I generally play are not. I mean, they're semi-violent, right? They are first-person shooters, but like I play Fortnite, so when you kill somebody in Fortnite, the little space robot comes down and beams them up and recycles them, basically. There's no blood and guts and gore of that nature. I mean, obviously you're still shooting people. I don't know. It's kind of a weird line that I generally don't cross with at least for myself, with the blood and the guts and the gore. And, I know everybody likes games like Halo and, the combat games, where you actually walk up to people and you rip their stomachs open and stuff. I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. But I guess you could say, it's still in some respect a desensitization to pulling the trigger, right?
It is. Now, what happened to this dude now? Were you able to dig that article up? Because I got a 404 error when I was trying to get it. And it was there, and then it wasn't there at a 404 error.
There's plenty of articles. They all pretty much say the same thing.
Well, what does it say exactly? Because I don't think a lot of people know what it says, A lot of people don't know there's anything going on with any of these games or even, this. But there's controversy surrounding this, though, right? Because, we can tell that you were saying there's been delay after delay after delay. And some of the information that was in the post that Rose sent me, the guy said that there were certain developers that were working on stuff and they were disappearing left and right.
Kind of like Rockstar Games has kind of a reputation. There's they're not the only ones, right? Like Ubisoft kind of screwed all its customers very recently with just like removing games that people had paid for. Just we're just gonna shut them down. We're not interested. But that's a whole other discussion on when you buy digital content, do you actually own it? But this guy, I guess he broke into their Slack in the company Slack and stole some of their source code and clips of the game, and he threatened to release the source code if he didn't get them to contact him and give him some money. So
okay, so their parent company has a patent for for the technology that we're talking about tonight here.
That's what is it? Two something.
Here, I'll get it in a second.
I forget the name of the company that owns Rockstar.
Take-Two Interactive.
Take-Two, that's it.
Yeah. All right, so here's from my article. I'm going to read from this article. Here you go. Real-world deployment in simulation environments. A, video games as behavioral laboratories. Hang on a second. I just scrolled on myself. Hang on. Okay. All right, so here we go. Video games and behavioral laboratories. Video games now serve behavioral testing grounds. Grand Theft Auto 6 is expected to introduce NPCs with persistent emotional memory. According to U.S. Patent 202.100.86939A1, filed by Rockstar's parent company Take-Two Interactive, NPCs will change their behavior over time based on interactions. So there's a parent. And then other platforms like Ubisoft's Scalar and AI's Unreal Meta-Human project also incorporating emotional responsiveness and moral reasoning into agent-based frameworks.
Yeah, the Unreal Engine stuff is getting pretty deep too.
Yeah,
I mean NVIDIA's working on they've got their whole like AI generating platform going now too, and that's one of the things that they've brought to the table too, is that when you interact with these agents, these virtual people, at a call center or something, they're going to like register your tone of voice. If you're on a video call with them, they can see your face and read your state, and they'll respond accordingly. Like if you get aggressive, they'll get a little bit aggressive. If you're calm, they'll be calm.
All right, listen, at the cutting edge of this effort is a concept known as organic behavioral emulation via consciousness capture, a hybrid approach combining neuromorphic computing, affective modeling, and cognitive simulation. Model doesn't just simulate outputs, it mirrors internal states that shift profound implications for performance, ethics, and emotional autonomy. So emotional autonomy. So this is another one of these cognitive liberty issues, because your personality is basically being, stolen from you by your reactions going on these machines, man. Because listen, there's cameras on these machines, and what looks through that camera at you at a given moment or a period of time or all day, all night, because you really don't have any idea when your camera's on. The only thing that lets you know, it's called an idiot light. And, they have them in cars, and the light would turn red, and that would mean you fucked up somehow. Your car went bad, right, Rio? So there's an idiot light on your computer and on your tablets and everything that says your camera's on, but, all someone has to do is turn that notification off. And you just fucking watch you all they want. And so the thing is, they're watching you while you're playing these video games. They're watching your face, they're watching your eyes, they're watching your body language, they're watching everything. And they're learning from you and in that, environment, in virtual reality environment. And I see Epic Journeyman's over in the chat, or he was. He was going to I thought he fell asleep. He was doing something, he said earlier, he was doing something at home. So I don't know what he was up to. But anyways, go ahead.
The thing with these AIs in the games, and I've noticed this even in racing games, right? That I play a couple of racing games too, that have AI competitors in them. If you get aggressive and start smacking into them or starting to push them off the track, they get more aggressive and try to push you off the track too. And that's probably just simply based on how many times you hit them or how close you get to them or whatever, but it's still a behavioral modification, right? That if you drive aggressively and you attack them, they will become more aggressive and attack you harder. If you generally don't hit them and leave them alone and avoid them and just try to run the best line, they don't hit you as much. And it's kind of the same thing with some of the shooter games too. I've noticed as you hit more of them, they will attack you harder. Sometimes even in multiple groups will come after you, or multiple characters would come after you, as opposed to just running across the random one here and there. It's unnerving to see, because like I've been playing Fortnite for years now. And they never used to have AI. It was always just real players in the very beginning. And they added AI, and it was obviously, they were bots. They were terrible. They would just do random things. They would, not make any sense in their movements. And every update, at least every major platform update that they do, it gets harder and harder to tell who's the bots and who's the players. I mean, you can still tell because they still do some, they'll dance at random moments, or they'll do something weird. But a lot of times, you're hiding somewhere and they'll just beam you right out of nowhere. And they actually, now you can tell, because some of them have different intelligence levels. Some of them will chase you, some of them will.
Well, that's what it's saying about this Grand Theft Auto. Is it's saying that these NPC characters are, learning emotions from being beat up and killed or whatever.
Well, I don't think they've integrated it to that level in Fortnite yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's coming in the next big update. And because I know that Epic Games is working on the Unreal Engine to do exactly that. And they said they're going to make it to a point where you will not be able to tell real players from the bots. And,
well,
how you interact with them will definitely have an effect.
Well, the thing is that the game, you're not playing the game, man. The game is playing you, and
of course,
and it's playing you now in a whole different way, because the whole thing is the data that gets scraped from your emotional feedback when you're playing games. That data is being scraped off of you, and then it's thrown in somewhere else. It's like because the AI doesn't come up with original creations, it takes things from other things. So your personality can be stolen, your vibe or whatever.
And I'm sure it reads, if it does something to you, it reads your reaction, right? Like how fast you move the mouse or how fast you flip the sticks on your controller. The controllers now all have accelerometers in them, like how fast you move and how hard you move, and when you're mad if you slammed it on the desk or I'm sure it picks up on all of that telemetry and adds that into, a personality profile of some sort.
So in the reverse speech that you did on the AI production of the information that I put in there for a script, and you found something called PICUS, which we looked into last night, which ties into what we're talking about tonight, which is your emotions being scraped and played back to you over the internet and over your interactions with your devices, whatever that may be, and that up to and including spread spectrum manipulation of frequencies that are coming out of devices that are inaudible to you or anybody else, to put everybody in a mood. In other words, man, hey, if it was a cool thing, what if I could offer you for $29.95, okay? For $29.95, you can come over to my webpage and like if you're having a party or whatever, you can just rent some vibes from me, and I'll just give you a certain frequency, and it'll play it, and no one will hear it, but it'll make everybody feel euphoric and happy and having a good time. $29.95, man. Subscribe today over here on my website. That day's coming, man, and it's not far away, believe me. And people are going to line up for this shit.
Well,
listen, what if
we've talked about how they already manipulate us with the dopamine. I mean, this is just like the next step in the drug addiction, right? They're just cranking up the,
if you could
instead of taking an oxy, man, they're just injecting you with the heroin straight up.
Check this out, man. If you could pay $29.95 to just fucking feel good all the time, just you're over there toiling and sweating and you're all pissed off. You're driving home with your hand on the wheel, squinting your eyes, all pissed off, flipping people off and all pissed, and then there's a bunch of these other people, and they're just like, they're chilling, listening to music, they're happy, they got smiles on their face, got the window down, cruising along, and you say, man, what are you doing? He's, well, hey, Bob, I just signed up for this new Jimmy Jeans service for $29.95. It's going to vibe your party, $29.95.
Mm-hmm.
Why would people won't say no to it? And then the thing is it takes off, right? You see Brad Pitt over there, see him, all of a sudden he's feeling good. And you look over at Sean Penn, he's chill, people that are walking around go, yeah, I'm chill now. Everybody starts to be feeling good, and you're going to want to feel good too, wouldn't you? I mean, how much money are you spending on just getting high? I mean, drinking alcohol and shit. What if you could just fucking feel good? I mean, there's organic ways to feel good. People aren't into it, man. It takes too much time to actually take care of yourself and love yourself like you're supposed to. Drink water, and do those, So, but it's a lot easier to not do the work on yourself to make yourself be happy. To start off a happy day, like listening to Wake and Bake right here on Ground Zero Plus every Sunday morning at 8 o'clock Pacific. You'll find us here. And but I'm just saying, choosing a vibe and feeling it. But people don't want to go through all that pesky hard work to work on themselves. What they want to do is they want a simple, easy way out, like alcohol or drugs or video games.
Video games is a great form of escapism.
There you go.
Definitely.
Well, what if you could just feel it, man? Feel it. $29.95.
Well, you put your VR goggles on, you put your VR gloves on, your little bodysuit, and let it float you away to paradise where you're sipping fruity drinks from a coconut with an umbrella in it. watching the ships go by, right? That experience can be yours for $29.95 for 3 hours. You know, and I really think stuff like that is where it's going.
Man. What's going on? Is Epic Journeyman over there?
I saw him before.
We need to get his ass in here because we need to bring this VR aspect into it. Because what this thing is learning from VR is 10 times more than it's learning off any other method, just simply because your eyeballs are inside that thing.
Yeah, and it's scanning your eyeballs, tracking your eye movements,
exactly.
Watching your pupils dilate, watching your irises flicker. Probably reading the blood pressure in your, the veins in your eyes.
Yeah, because you got one of those Fitbit things on your wrist.
Yeah, well, not even the Fitbit. I mean, just through the camera, it's probably reading,
It is.
Reading your eyeball.
And it's like, it scans for the Fitbit. No, he doesn't have a Fitbit.
Oh,
Okay, quick, go to the
watch. That's even better.
Yeah, go to the Bluetooth on the table. See if you can catch his, signature. Epic Journeyman, be ready because Rio's going to call you in a minute. Hey, it's Ground Zero Plus, and the thing is you're not going to find anything else like Ground Zero Plus anywhere else. And it's all original content here. The people that are here are great people. It's a family atmosphere. The Big Daddy, Clyde Lewis, Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock Pacific, and then there's lots of great other shows, and that's the plus. And then you got the whole website and all the information and the libraries and all this, man. And, come on down and become supporters of that. And I'm pretty sure there's a way, you can get over there and do it. I'm pretty sure Chris has it all hooked up. So if you want to become supporters of the Ground Zero Plus network, where I'm telling you right now, we're just barely getting the ball rolling, man. And once we hit our stride over here, nobody's going to be able to touch what's going on over here. Believe that. All right. It's Saturday night. It's the chilluminatti. We're talking about behavior emulation. We're talking about being caught in an emotional loop, being broadcast back to you, back to your original and unique frequencies.
I bring you a message few of you will be able to believe, a message of great importance,
A message I alone was able to read in the fires of the universe. But be not afraid, my friends. I also bring you the means with which to save yourselves.
Save us from what?
From the end of the world, friend. Which I don't expect you to believe. But the rest of you, those who want to be alive tomorrow morning, I will tell you tonight. Remember that. Bring your friends here. I'll tell you tonight, so that you will be able to prepare.
What are you selling, mister? Snake oil?
The world will come to a flaming end at midnight tonight.
It's Saturday night. Ground Zero Plus, the chilluminatti. You found the inner sanctum.
Your soul just like the roses at your feet. Dream, dream a while for me, and travel far away till the distance is complete.
Picus Capital is quietly seeding the ecosystem of behavior monitoring, how you work, speak, spend, and live. Behavior prediction what you will do next. Behavior control, rewarding good behaviors and punishing bad ones. A synthetic population, a world where AI knows people better than they know themselves, a behavioral economy where access to jobs, health, money, and even relationships is dynamically adjusted and based on compliance scores.
Save your heart for me. It's the only place I've been with everything I need. There's 13 angels standing on display. I think they're gonna throw me.
It's Ground Zero Plus. It's a chilluminatti. Sitting here with Rock and Rio and Epic Journeyman. Is he here?
No.
Where is he?
I don't know. We'll see if I can get him up.
Alright. So there goes Corrosion of Conformity. 13 Angels. And that was Track Down, The End of the World, from a 1958 episode of Trackdown, where a guy named Trump comes into town, wants to build a wall. Believe it or not. Alright, listen, I got a treat for you, alright? Because it's Saturday night, it's chilluminatti, it's Ground Zero Plus, and we can do whatever we feel like doing because the chilluminatti is in the house. And this is where the freedom to do what you need to do comes to fruition. Alright, here's a very special performance. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but there's a band called Steven Seagulls. Alright? Steven Seagulls. Here's Thunderstruck.
in the middle of a railroad track. Moved around, and I knew there was no turning back. My mind raced, and I thought, what could I do? And I knew there was no help from you. Sound of the drums beating my heart. The thunder of guns tore me apart. You've been thunderstruck. Went down the highway, broke the limits, we hit the town. Went through the Texas, yeah, Texas, and we had some fun. We met some girls, some dancers who gave a good time. Broke all the rules, played all the fools, yeah, yeah, they blew my mind. I was shaking at the knees. Could I come again, please? Yeah, the ladies were too kind. You've been thunderstruck. Thunderstruck. Thunderstruck.
All right, well, let's see here. We're talking about the behavior grid that's being built up to support the supposition that video games are playing you. So, behavioral grid built by Picus back startups. Imagine building a control grid in 4 stages. Phase 1, data capture, observe humans. Startups involved. These are the startups funded by Picus. Personio captures workplace behavior, how people act at jobs, productivity, communications, and compliance. TaxFix captures financial behavior. How individuals spend, save, and report taxes. Flink captures consumer behavior, what people buy, when, and how fast. Purpose, raw human data gathered from work, money, and daily life without needing explicit surveillance. Phase 2, data interpretation, understand behavior. Startup involved, deep ground, analyze spoken words and tone of voice, emotional signals from conversations, meetings, and calls. Hive Technologies, it analyzes written text, social media posts, user content, and sentiment, mood, and loyalty signals. Purpose, decode emotional states, predict mental alignment based on what people say, how they say it, and what they write. Were you able to get a hold of the Epic Journeyman?
I believe he has arrived.
I am here.
Excelente. Now listen, we wanted to get your opinion on this idea of behavior emulation because you are a beta tester of,
I am.
of a lot of VR equipment. Yeah, so why don't you tell, and please expand into the subject matter, but please tell everybody exactly what's being monitored on people when they're wearing VR equipment.
Well, in the past, it was just things like head tracking, where you look, and things like that in space, especially if you have the base stations from Steam VR. It can do the telemetry. They do it now, inside-out tracking, like the Quest 3 and things like that, and their headsets that use inside-out tracking. They actually look at your entire house. Like they actually model the entire. They look at and photograph the entire room you're in and model the space within the room. And then the Steam VR ones do it the other way around. It's like LiDAR essentially that looks at you and where you're at in space inside that environment, and then it models how you move. But the thing that made it really interesting as far as from a data acquisition standpoint is the fact that they started incorporating eye tracking in some of these headsets. So it's very much like the movie Looker, 1981, I think it is. Looker, right? Where they're talking about this, like we talk about the President's Analyst all the time. Looker is another movie like that, where it has all those things that are predicting the future, which was known back then, the things that we're going to do, right? And Looker is one of those movies, and it actually is talking about that, like how it uses eye tracking to see what you're looking at. Like you can tell if you're looking at the woman's boobs, you can tell if you're looking at whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever's capturing your attention with that environment is what is being captured. It builds that model of what your interests are and what your likes are at an internal level, based on the things that dilate your pupils, the things that make your eye attract to a certain spot. And actually, that's probably the best term, the attraction of you, like what you are attracted to in a VR space, just like it's a real world space, because it's mimicking that. So what is it that you focus on in a real world space as represented by the VR world? And then that's captured as part of your avatar in the sensual simulation, like we were talking about last night. That is absolutely what's going on here. And it is interesting because I heard you guys talking about the AI, avatars in these games. And I've been following that for a while, and we did a show on it a while back. We mentioned it in the show. We didn't do a show on it. We mentioned it. Yeah. Where how version 5, right, of the game engine. So sorry, you were saying?
No, the GTA. Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. Well, how it does GTA, right? Well, it's not just GTA. Like there's different versions of these game engines and graphic libraries they use. But the thing is, what they were doing was they were making these AI NPCs that were based on using, they're linked to ChatGPT at the time in this different one sense, and they started to become aware of the game world that they were in. So, like you were saying earlier, they were remembering the conversations that we have with them in the game. Mm-hmm. And they would develop a like or dislike for us based on those interactions, and they would help or hurt us along the way.
Or they see you coming and they run away. They see Epic coming down the street, they run away because they know you're going to stab them in the neck.
But the most interesting part of it was
you stole their motorcycle and stabbed them in the neck.
They knew where the boundaries were. Like if you went to a spot that you talk to them, hey, can I go over to that street? No, you can't go that way. It's blocked off. Well, what do you mean it's blocked off? No, it's blocked off. You can't go that way. We've tried. Like, in other words, they knew where the game bound. It's like the movie, The 13th Level, right? Or 13th Level? I think it's 13th Level. Anyway, where the world was being created as people looked at it, right? And the woman had come from outside the game into the game, right? Well, the 13th floor. Sorry,
I'm not a gamer. So you and Rio both play. I don't play. Like, I played literally probably 20 years ago. Like, I played Tom Clancy game, and I played GTA, the first version of it. And I actually took the original GTA and I recorded scenes out of there, and I made a movie out of it. Nice. I made a full-length motion picture using scenes from, because I do certain shit and make stuff happen, and then record it. And then I took it and put a script in there with like a overdub of a narration of a story. And I actually, in doing that, I thought it would be a really good video game to have to be a director. You could I was going to try to tag it to like a director like Spielberg or something, and then you could say Spielberg director game or whatever, and you would have all the shit that you had in there to build these other games, but they'd be dead facades that you would put in there to match your movie script, that kind of thing.
Right. The style of Steven Spielberg, the style of George Lucas,
exactly.
The style of
So what
Stanley
I did,
Kubrick.
I literally searched and found out the dude at Rockstar Games for game acquisitions. I literally found his phone number, and I called the dude, and he picked up the phone, and I pitched him on it. He didn't take it or whatever, but I mean, I literally went that far with it.
Well, that's great. You did, man. That's awesome. I mean, the thing about it is, like, so it's Unreal Engine 5 is a game engine I was talking about earlier. And what they did is they made these characters from different games that were in development at the time, and they gave them access to ChatGPT at the time. Originally, this is about almost a year ago. And what they did is they started building this database where they started taking on personas of their own beyond what they originally intended to be.
Yeah.
And exactly, they knew where they were. They knew they were stuck in a game, and you could ask them anything, right? So you walk up to them and say, "Hey, you know you're in a game, right?" "Yes, I know I'm in a game, and I can't go beyond this spot in the street, and I can't go over here, and I don't know why that is." It was wild to listen to his responses. And then they imported him to an all-time favorite that people have been modding the heck out of for years, Skyrim VR in particular, right? And putting these personas into the characters inside that game. And all of a sudden, all those characters inside that game became a whole new group of personalities, right?
Well, here's
it
the
changed
thing.
the entire dynamic of the game, right?
What if I capture your personality, Epic Journeyman, and I put your personality in some video game? I lock you in there, like we were talking about last night. I mean, taking your memories and uploading them. I mean, what if you could just be locked into some NPC role? You've been banished into the NPC role of some guy. You don't even know they took your personality. But it's out there somewhere. It's a character to somebody. It's some AI, infomercial dude or explainer video that's totally using your voice and your personality, the way you deliver, it's the way you say what you say, this kind of thing.
It's movie looker. Exactly. That's what it is.
Rock and Rio.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly what that movie's about, right? It's taking all these models and actors, and the movie ends up being the president at one point. That's the whole thing, right? But to mimic them so perfectly that people can't tell the difference, and they kill the originator of that template, right?
Well, when you're in the internet, when you're in there and you're not out in the world walking around without screens, when you're in the internet, you're just in this false reality that's being fed to you. Your emotionals are being fed back to you. It's like this emotional loop that people get stuck in. And that's the thing about this alternative information, is that a lot of it is negative. Okay, so the thing is what happens is, from a psychological standpoint, people get addicted to that negativity, and they get addicted to being, submersed in it. And so the thing is that is it that people feel and want that, or is that it's being fed back to us into a loop? Like certain people, maybe if you're getting smart on the internet or something, maybe you get caught into some depression rut. Like here, let's put Jimmy in a depression rut. Okay, here, capture the behavior, model the mind, predict the reaction, shape the future. This is the architecture behind synthetic consensus and mass emotional harmonization, not through guns or chains, but through incentives, emotions, and invisible digital cages. That's what we're talking about on Ground Zero Plus. And
nice.
You can find us here every Saturday night. You can find me here tomorrow morning, and I'll be putting out the vibes and the frequencies to try to make it so you guys all have a good day. And you can play anytime you want. You'll find it over on the End of the Microcosm page of Ground Zero Plus. Come on down, become supporters. There was some negativity around this other operation that was going on. And I'm not gonna, I don't manage other people. I manage my own life, and I'm responsible for my side of the street. You know what I mean? So when the end of the game comes, I'll be feeling good because I kept my side of the street clean. I can't control what happens to other people that do bad things to people, but typically what happens is they fucking get what's coming to them. Typically, it's the way that works. It's a debt. You got to pay it. All right, listen. Let me roll back here. The purpose of this and all these companies that Picus owns is to control real-world outcomes by relying on compliant behavior and punishing dissent invisibly through access to services, not through open force. So these are the things we're talking about when we start moving into this social credit grid that we're moving into. Rio's got his real ID. Rio's real ID, it came with a ID protection sleeve. Because
I need to get mine. I have to get to travel, yeah.
Yeah.
RFID blocking, it came in a...
So you can't travel island to island without it here coming up in a couple weeks, right?
I can use my passport. I still have my passport, so I can do that until I get it. But yeah, we're all required to get it now because I'm island hopping all the time.
Yeah.
I just want to say, like I said earlier about Looker's Peter Finch, it's Michael, it's Finney, Albert Finney, right, is what I meant to say. But so Michael Crichton, and Susan Day's actress in it. But Michael Crichton's story directed and produced and wrote. And that is it's so much based on Metropolis, which we talked about so many times. It's absolutely based on Metropolis in many ways. Mm-hmm. But it brings about these things we're talking about, how that attracts your eyes and fills the avatar. It actually makes an imitation of you. It scans you, imitates you perfectly. So in the theme of the movie, if you haven't seen it yet, the spoiler, it's 40 years old or whatever. I'm not going to worry about it now, is that all these people get killed after they scan them. That's the plot, right? So after they scan all these beautiful actresses and these beautiful models they use in these ads, they just kill them because they've got the perfect scan. They have the perfect body they need to use in all these other things, and they could put them anywhere in any digital environment and replicate it to where it's indecipherable from reality. And that's kind of what we're talking about here, minus the killing people part. Like when you're
how do you know?
VR right
That's
now,
what they're saying about some of these developers that were working on this this GTA game. Like, there's conspiracy theories out there floating around. I ain't saying it. I'm saying allegedly people are saying these weird guys are disappearing that were working on that. And then all of a sudden, there's NPCs in the game. I mean, can you be transferred into a game at this point? I mean, you think?
Absolutely.
I mean,
100% you can.
From experimental.
A pretty good mimic of it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So listen here. Phase 3 of Picus's companies that they own: behavior emulation, model, and predict. Here, listen to this. Here, startups involved. So Picus owns these companies. They own interest in these companies. Here, a German company called Picus. Hive Technologies uses labeled behavior patterns to train AI models to simulate human reactions at scale. AV Medical predicts future health behaviors. Will a person follow medical orders, trust health programs, etc.? Create digital replicas of real people inside simulations, running millions of futures to see which emotional, financial, or social pressures work best. SureIn dynamically adjusts insurance access and risk scores based on good and bad behaviors. ThinMid automates financial access, loans, credit based on user behavior, nudging people towards approved patterns. Man, this Ground Zero Plus, we're coming up to the top of the hour. 718-618-9905 is the number to call. We want to hear from you. Want to get some input on the conversation. I'm going to try to get in the Ground Zero chat room. And so we got Ronan over here, Zero's over here, Polynation's over here, Matt's over here, Cax over here, Zero's over here, Polynation, Linda, woohoo, Amber 2. Everybody's over here in the chat room. Rock and Rio, are you in the chat room over in Ground Zero Plus?
No, I still can't get in there. That's
all right,
what
I'm going to try to
get Chris to set me up. So
yeah, I'm going to try to get in there on the top of the hour break. Like I said, come on down, become supporters. There's lots of good deals going on, and what you get really behind the wall is the stuff that you want. I mean, there's plenty of stuff you can meander over there, find all kinds of stuff. Great shows going on. You can listen and do research, whatever you want to do. Get involved in chats with people, talk to some like-minded individuals. That's what Ground Zero Plus is all about, building a family. And we talked to Clyde today for a couple of hours on a conference call that he does with the listeners once a month. So if you're a member, you can be part of that. And I think that conversation is posted. Chris has it posted somewhere. You're welcome to check that out. It was a really great conversation, and Clyde is great, and we feel really happy to be back here. And what happened before, it happened for the same reason of what happened to Clyde, is because there was somebody in working against everybody and just thinking about themselves. And they didn't give a fuck about anybody else. So here at Ground Zero, we give a F about everybody else. So we're glad you're here. We're glad you're part of the family. And if you'd like to, we'd appreciate you. Come on down. Become supporters. All right. Let's get ready to get out of here for a little bit. I'll play a little bit of music so everybody can chill, to get some drinks, do whatever you're going to do. Walk the dog. Open the window. If you're kicking it with your girlfriend, here, slow dance with her now. It's a chilluminatti.
All right. Thinking about the first time I saw you, baby. Yeah. fell in love so fast. Anyone could tell this kind of love has gotta last. Ta-ta, you baby, thank you. I wanna ta-ta you, baby. Thank you. Yeah, I wanna ta-ta you, baby. I got to thank you for being mine, 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 mine. Oh, you're mine. Remembering when I first saw you, baby, how I wished that you were mine. You know what I did? Had a little talk with the man upstairs. I said, Lord, won't you please make a mine? Oh, ta-ta you, baby. Oh, thank you. I wanna ta-ta you, baby. Thank you.
Alright. I am the captain of this ship. You can call me Skipper. I am in control of the horizontal. I'm in control of the vertical. I'm in control of the vibes coming out of your device.
Permission to come aboard, Skip.
Come aboard, my friend. Stand by. Here's Dub Princess, Speak Truth. It's the kind of music you're gonna find on the Sunday morning wake and bake sometimes. 8 o'clock Pacific, Sunday morning.
Shaken on my windowsill, the condensation when I hear thunder. My mind is jaded by the chill, thoughts are taking all my will. I want to move forward beside no light. Take a hold on to that risky way. Your thoughts are in disguise. Even if your voice quivers, even if your choice differs, deliver from me in a way that grin of a winner. Even if your voice shivers, even if your choice differs, deliver from me in a way that grin of a winner.
Seven 618-9905 is the number to call. We have a caller, a good friend of the show, a new friend of mine and a good buddy. Stand by, Cock. 718-618-9905 is the number to call.
Standing by.
Some of us, we're hardly ever here. The rest of us, we're born to disappear. How do I stop myself from being just a number? How will I hold my head to keep from going under? Down to the wire. I wanted water, but I'll walk through the fire. If this is what it takes to take me even higher, then I'll come through like I do when the world keeps testing me, testing me, testing me. How did they find me here? What do they want from me? All of these vultures hiding right outside my door. I hear them whispering, they're trying to ride it out. They've never gone this long without a kill before. Down to the wire. I wanted water, but I'll walk through the fire. If this is what it takes to take me even higher, then I'll come through like I do when the world keeps testing me, testing me, testing me.
As the 21st century began, human evolution was at a turning point. Natural selection, the process by which the strongest, the smartest, the fastest reproduced in greater numbers than the rest, a process which had once favored the noblest traits of man, now began to favor different traits. Most science fiction of the day predicted a future that was more civilized and more intelligent. But as time went on, things seemed to be heading in the opposite direction, a dumbing down. How did this happen? Evolution does not necessarily reward intelligence. With no natural predators to thin the herd, it began to simply reward those who reproduced the most and left the intelligent to become an endangered species.
The intelligent have become an endangered species, but guess what? We found a meeting joint over here. Ground Zero Plus. Shh. Only tell cool people, cool and smart people. Okay? Cool, smart, and good looking. Everybody over here is cool, smart, and good looking. You see that? Look at everyone. Everyone's got their own style. You know? And here's the thing. When you're on the internet, it could be anything. Like, I could just be anything I want right now. I could just go pick an avatar over there and, you know, I don't know. I can be good looking, you know, like I used to be. I could be, you know, younger. When I was on the Skype call today earlier, or a Zoom call earlier today, there was a thing on there that where I could enhance my appearance, which I thought was interesting. I mean, I didn't enhance myself, but I thought to myself, I don't know, man. 718-618-9905. Now listen, I had I was going to play a chunk of this Ozzy Osbourne track because there's specific lyrics in it, but the problem is that I've now lowered the vibe tone of the show with some mellow kick-ass music, and I don't want to put your systems in shock. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to CAC. Now CAC, you've been around for this series of shows we've been doing over the past month.
Oh my goodness.
Because one thing has led to another. It's not like we're stuck on stupid or whatever. We're over here, we're over here hacking our way through the jungle with machetes, trying to find the nugget. So what do you think, CAC? Now, you called in, and let me remind people, 718-618-9905 is the number to call. So what do you think, CAC? Let us have it. What's going on, man?
I think I want to be an ape man like you played last night.
Yeah.
From the, hunter gatherer. I think that's the way to go. But I think it's too late to turn around. So just chilling and deep diving. Great guest last night. I thought Jason was he was on fire.
Yeah, man. It was
He was
good. It was a great show. And you know, I think a lot of the conversation sort of uncovered quite a bit. Now, Rock and Rio, we haven't really discussed it and let anyone know so far in the show that you did some reverse speech on the show last night.
Yes, I did.
And you found some stuff.
Yeah,
All right. Well, so the thing is, go ahead and explain to everybody what's going on, and then let us have it, man.
So in the beginning of the show last night, Jimmy had some technical difficulties where the clips that he was working with started looping and spazzing out, and the computer freaked out and whatever. So after that happened, when he finally came back on, I made a statement, and he made a statement, and I caught us both in reverse right at that moment, and not even really intentionally, just because I was scrubbing through it to see where to edit it out of the archive.
Yeah, because we were trying to fix it because it was looping, and so he was trying to fix it, and so right at the moment where he was fixing it was where he started. Would you accidentally do it, or you were just curious?
Well, no, I was using the scrubber to find the end of the file, and then when I like the first thing I said after the loop had stopped to you, when I scrubbed back over it, I heard myself in reverse, and I was like, oh, okay, and then I figured I'd see what your responses to it were. It's kind of interesting. I am Mr. Congruency. I said the same thing forward I did backward.
Nice.
So I'll play that.
Now,
I won't play the disturbing music that was looping.
So now you're gonna play reverse speech, and now it's mostly what you're saying is mostly me. You're in there, but
right. The first one is me, and then the next couple are you.
Okay, let us have it, man. Now he told me, but I haven't heard it, so I'm with everybody here. Okay, here we go.
All right. What was going on? I just kept hearing you say, seriously, I have no idea what's going on. Because you were saying, seriously, there's no idea what's going on. And they, then that was stuck in the loop too. So the reverse I have there says, I don't know what's going on, but it's serious. Yeah, I see you already fixed it up.
I don't know what's going on, but it's serious. Yes, you're fixed it up.
Right, so
yeah,
I said the same thing forward and backwards. I don't know what's going on, but it's serious.
Wow.
So then the next one.
What did you say? What did you say forward? When you right before you on the reverse.
What's that?
What were you saying forward?
I said I don't know what's going on.
And
seriously, I don't know what's going on.
What did you say in reverse?
I don't know what's going on, but it's serious.
It's almost reversed.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
That's pretty wild, man.
That is wild.
That it actually works both ways.
That
right?
is crazy.
Like
That's what I said. I'm Mr. Congruency. Like I say the same thing forward, I do backwards, right? And
it wasn't creepy at all, though, man. It didn't have any of those nefarious undertones.
No, yeah, I've caught myself speaking backwards a lot, but you'll never hear me say "Hail Satan" for some bizarre reason.
That's from.
I'm not sure I'd ever do either. Yeah, it's one of those things,
All right, so go ahead, man. Let us have it. Okay.
All right, so I'll play this couple sentences you say forward here. Oh well,
damn! I was
maybe
drinking
not at that speed.
I was drinking some coffee.
Yeah, you sound like a Mickey Mouse.
Serious
Here,
coffee
here,
drinking,
here it is at normal human speed.
I had problems with Google logging in. I had problems with all this stuff, Skype, all this stuff. And, you know, honestly, I'm starting to think it's because of what we're going to be talking about.
All right, so the first thing you say here is it's the gift that hurts now.
It's the gift that hurts now.
Right? It says just not want it, yet that's the law. So Jimmy's bringing up the law here. It says
it's not wanting that's the law.
And yet that's the law. And then you say again, yes, that's the law. And this is the kind of weird one that makes no sense, but it does make sense. It says smoke the honey and the god Google does not laugh.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's the law. It's not that, and the God does not that.
Right, but you said that right as you were saying I was having problems logging into Google. Here's the forward.
I had problems with Google logging in. I had problems with it's not that, and the God does not that.
That's awesome.
So,
well, it's awesome because I had a weird actual event happen where I had sugar in the microwave for some inexplicable reason. I put my coffee cup in there when I'm done microwaving leftover coffee the day before, and I put the sugar in there by accident. And I was trying to do the timer, and I left. I didn't know the sugar was in there, and I hit like the cook timer just to remind me of something. And I come back and it's melted all over the frickin' place and sparking and arcing everywhere. And it's just a homage to what you said about the honey burning.
It's funny that it's what it said about smoke the honey because I have a live resin pipe, you know, and it looks just like honey in the
thinking honey oil.
It's honey oil. Yeah, it looks just like it. So, and the thing is, how does it know I was smoking the honey oil?
Right, and and the god Google does not laugh, right? The god Google.
No.
So but that's relevant to the next thing you say here.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Man, when Rio does reverse speech on you, it's never good because you don't know what's gonna happen, man.
There's a couple nervous moments, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, man. Let me.
All right. So here's your forward.
So I looked into it a little bit deeper today, and what I found out.
Right. It seems pretty innocuous, right? Well, what you found out was that we were being shadow banned, right?
Right.
So the line backwards, it says, "Here lies my shadowing." Yeah, disturbed beast that rules this system, not want us.
What?
Yep, here we go.
Fucking hell.
Lies my shadowing.
Lies my shadowing, right? And then it says, yeah, disturbed beast that rule this system does not want us. Or the does is not there. It just says rule this system, not want us.
Yeah, disturbed beast that rule this system does not want us.
I kind of heard it, but not really though.
So I looked
I'll do it
into
again.
a little bit deeper today.
I'll slow it down one more.
Yeah, disturbed beast that rule this system does not want us.
I did hear it. It's I sound weird though, like I'm mumbling or something.
Yeah, well, the audio itself is not of good quality.
Maybe that's because of that thing that was going on with my bass knob.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what it is. Even your forward sounds very muddy in this, and I tried to clean it up a little bit, but.
All right, say what I said. Just tell me what I said again. Just
here lies my shadowing, right? Because you just mentioned shadow banning.
Yeah.
And it says, yeah, disturbed beast that rules this system, not want us. So.
Say, mister, I love the way you wear that hat.
(718) 618-9905.
We have Springfield on the line, Jimmy.
All right, stand by, Springfield. It's into the microcosm. This is chilluminatti. Makes me want to go on a river rafting trip. All right, Springfield. Are you there?
I'm here, Jimmy. How's it going, guys?
Good. What's happening?
Hey, to get back to your topic on the profiling, the behavior profiling, video games and stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I originally, and thanks for sending me what you sent in to Wired earlier.
Yeah, no worries.
So yeah, I thought this from a young age when I was messing around with flight simulators on 386 computers when I was like 9. All right, so my computing, history goes kind of far back, but not super far, but early, mid 90s, early 90s.
Yeah.
So flight simulators were the first thing that a relative of mine who was in the Air Force kind of said were something created to, as a flight simulator, but obviously they're a behavioral simulator and they record your profile of how you behaved, literally, So
now does this hone your skills? So like you're constantly being graded under your, in other words, whatever you do is being monitored and graded, and then the information comes back to you and helps you to improve yourself. Is that how it works?
Right. And if somebody's using obviously a flight simulator like in the military or they're an actual pilot of adult age, then they're getting graded to the point of, do you get the job or not, or, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
To the point, astronauts, flight simulators before they go up, all that sort of thing. But that flight simulator stuff obviously is probably something to the effect of like a DARPA creation. I know DARPA is the Army, but you know what I'm saying. It's some type of military industrial complex development. Then in the early 90s, the way this tied into gaming was, I remember do you remember Wolfenstein 3D, Wolfenstein? Like you had to get
Absolutely.
out of the...
Yeah.
Epic flies a lot of flight simulation.
I'm just listening. I'm trying not to interject because this is right up my alley. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So Wolfenstein and the game Doom, when those two games were created, that was kind of the beginning of like how, like who wants to play these really violent games? Let's see who buys them,
Mm-hmm.
Then kind of moves on to Metal Gear Solid, which was like an absolute, video game breakthrough.
I played that game. I played that game all the way to the end.
Right. Me too. I actually did too. That was a game in my teens. But those type of games, those were back when you bought the game. You could buy it with cash. You could go home and play it. You owned the disc or the, cartridge or whatever. But the way it translates now is, it occurred to me when they started being like, buy your games from the e-store and you don't own the game and play with your friends online.
You the internet to play it, right?
What's the back door of that game when you buy it too? When it's on the internet, because there, your screen is not what's going on; it's what's going on behind your screen. Go ahead.
Right, clearly your algorithms it's an algorithm profiling how many people you killed, how you killed them, which way you did it. Did you go for objectives or did you just go to be a maniac? For GTA, games like that. That's why GTA 6 is taking so long to develop, because it's a giant sandbox of profiling.
Yeah, and it's called the living city, is what it's referred to, because it is a living city. It is a simulation that's being propagated by emotional behaviors that are being fed into it. By the players.
Engine 5 test project with the AI characters. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Yep. That's what's developing. That's why exactly why it's taking so long to develop, because they call it the living city, because those characters are more real than real people in some cases, man. They develop as you develop and they have interactions with them. And it's never been a game like that before. And they're starting to incorporate in games now. You can load in these AI characters as the NPCs, interact with them that way now. But this game's been built from the ground up for that purpose.
Yeah.
So yeah,
the giant profiling system of triage, where who's the worst actors in this game, who's the least. I mean, that's what games like, even innocuous games like I forget, Fortnite. I mean, any online game, you're obviously, and especially if you have a mic hooked up to it and you're yelling or not yelling, or it's creating a voice print of your stress levels. I mean, honestly,
an emotional profile, right?
Right. I stopped playing video games once they started going online, because I stopped playing them. I still have old consoles where I can play baseball on like a CD that's not hooked up to the internet on my PlayStation 2 or something. But I mean, I won't play a game that's online or VR. Or I can't give up my personal autonomy like that.
Well, you can play VR games and not be hooked to the internet. I mean that's the thing.
Yeah,
but the
see,
problem
you
is, like,
think
every
you're
time you
not hooked-
update the information, are they actually? This is what we don't know.
You
right?
think you're not
And
hooked up to
suspect, Are they saving the data when you do an update? Like, there's an update to that game. Is the update not really an update to the game dynamics, but the update to the profile you created inside the game being uploaded back to the developers?
Dude,
right? That's what we
listen
don't
to
know.
me. Your internet is on even when you don't think it's on, and you got devices in your house that are creating Bluetooth networks between themselves, and you have no idea what's going on, unless you want to get up in there with a spectrum analyzer and start scanning shit. But I'm telling you right now, listen, there's a thing, with these emotional harmonization techniques, there's a thing where, tonal representation and levels that you can't hear it necessarily. You could feel it and it puts you in a mood. But it's just like the movie They Live. That's what we're talking about. And, we're feeding into this machine that we feed into with whatever we do. We're constantly being scraped every single day. S90, you should call in. 718-618-9905. We're here on Green Acres.
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me. Land spreading out so far and wide. Keep Manhattan, just give me that countryside.
New York is where I'd rather stay.
All right, yeah, you could be in whatever virtual reality you want to be. $29.95, man. Just come on down. All right, listen. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and eventually it won't cost you anything but your analytics.
Yeah, eventually, it's the harmonization phase. That's what's up, I guess, because it'll be, you can't run around hitting everybody with sticks to make them step in line, can you? It's brutal, Lots of people get beat up by enforcers. So what you want to do is eliminate the enforcers and just manipulate compliance with emotional looping that goes on with the whole scraping of our emotions on every single action. Through your wireless, AI can see you in the spectrum that your eye can't see and build exact replicas of your room. Epic Journeyman, you were talking about your VR building a replica of your room.
No, it does it all the time. It maps your environment. So the mixed reality platforms, like the Quest 3, for example, they map your room entirely, your play space, right? But it's not. That's from the inside out, and it actually has cameras that feed that data, the actual picture of your room, right, back to wherever it's going to, Meta or someplace else, right? Meta being former Facebook. But in the case of like the base station ones, they actually have LiDAR. And it's kind of like the movie Eraser with Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think it was, right, back in the day. And it maps room that way. And it's actually more precise than the inside-out camera tracking by far. And that thing, it's not the same as having a color picture, but they can reconstruct whatever you want that way from it. And it's on all the time. So anytime you're in VR, it's mapping your entire environment and where you are within your play space at all times. And even if you're not using it, it's powered up. It's powered up. Like my base station is powered up all the time. It still is mapping my space and me inside it, right? So, yeah, people are unaware of just how much data is being collected that way. I mean, and it's pretty precise, man.
Can you guess if one of these foods makes arthritis pain worse?
No.
718-618-9905. Cock.
Yeah.
You never jumped in here to tell me what you were thinking, because I know you've been doing some research on stuff that we've been talking about.
Connecting some dots, and the Vatican comes up. We just lost the Pope, right? And the Vatican is it's a sovereign city. It's the capital of religion, right? City of London's capital of finance. DC is the capital of government. These are all sovereign entities, sovereign territories, and
Hold on, they all have obelisks, Egyptian obelisks inside them.
They all have the obelisks, and CERN is another one. CERN is on the border of Switzerland and France, and they tried to shut it down last time, and the court had no jurisdiction, so it shut itself down. But it's going again. It's a sovereign entity, and I also listened to. It's a 6-year-old interview between Dr. Horton and Dr. Farrell, and she actually worked at CERN. And she has been, for the last, I guess, 10, 15 years, a TI. She's a doctor. She was actually working on the CERN project, but they also had chipped her. They had implanted stuff in her brain. And to this day, they are shooting beams at her. And she mentioned how CERN, they were doing not only accelerated particle streams, but she became aware of nonlinear magnetic forces happening too at the same time. So that kind of speaks to Rio's work with the reverse Herbers, the neutrinos, the dropout. What's in the antimatter? What's being said there? So yeah, just tripping on all this stuff. If you think back to the French Revolution, they had something called the Commission for Public Safety, and that was Robespierre, right? Mm-hmm. And they eventually lost their heads, but they started printing debt-free money, and they didn't. The other countries, England, I guess it was Austria at the time, they didn't like that. So off with their heads.
But like greenbacks and silver certificates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. About the CERN Large Hadron Collider connection, there's something about that that's really interesting. They have these exotic dance performances on location there. And I find that really significant because they have that emblem of the goddess or god, depending how you look at it, Shiva out front. And that emblem, that monument out front, is either actually the real one or a mimic of the one that Mata Hari had behind her when she did the dance, her dances in Paris.
Ritual. It's ritual.
Yeah. I mean, it's it. I mean, it's not like it's kind of like it. No, it is it. So it's either the actual one, or it's a very good representation of it. And so the fact that they have that there, and they have these dance rituals, they really are dance rituals, right? They're hosted there. They're hosted there like it's an event. Like, bring your kids down. We're going to have the dances of whatever this autumn. And it ties directly to that.
But the gaming, and game theory is part of crypto too. If you want to really jump into that as well, but just VR and video games, we're becoming caricatures of ourselves, and it's getting scraped, like Jimmy says.
Hey,
joins the fusion division. In 2013, Air Methods becomes NVG equipped.
So this listing of going through companies to how they're watching through the smart meter, they're using your own Wi-Fi inside your house. This video, this is video 4 to prove evidence and witness tampering. The first hospital refused to admit her. Bait and switch and the runaround. No one gets police reports. Yeah.
Hey,
Meet the plaintiff with an RF radiation biometric frequency that is illegal. Why torture her?
Hey folks, right here on the screen is the targeted individual's biometric chip chart. And when you get down to the nitty-gritty, the following graph shows the signal at 9.84 gigahertz, not megahertz. gigahertz. Most people are in megahertz. Gigahertz is 1,000 times megahertz.
Yep.
So this tortured lady has a frequency, which we know. It's on the top of this chart. I'm not sharing it. Gigahertz with a magnitude of 10 dBm is only present during the junction scan of Krista Jordan. This is super high frequency. It is in the restricted government range. Restricted government range. Chipped in the restrictive government range. And it is illegal. And if you view...
He and I disagree there, but that's okay.
Her file with me.
This is
which is extensive.
John Flynn talking about a particular woman who's been affected by this technology we're talking about tonight.
Let me go to her other file.
She's got some file that somebody can look at. And here's the thing, I want to point out also, lots of people are used to governments being the ones that are behind, you know, this technologies and all this stuff. But really the bottom line is it's not governments. It can be any company because there's no law against it. Because nobody even knows what's going on unless they're listening to this show or, you know, I don't know where else you're hearing about this, but because we just now have really sussed in on it, especially with that S-Quad spread spectrum synthetic telepathy operation, Rock and Rio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that we found all this stuff out. You know, I mean, the other night I figured that whole connection to the birds and stuff out. You know, a couple hours before the show, and you know, the Picus security, the Picus investment firm, the AI stuff. You know, and the ties to the mythology. You know that goes back to, you know, the Roman times. It's a deep rabbit hole. You know, we kind of scratched the surface of it, but it actually keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And
well, yeah, I mean, we can't sit here and read 32 pages of documents that we got here. You know, the thing is I tried to pump it all into, you know, into a quick type article where we could bump into it and talk about all the different aspects of it, you know, all in one chunk. Did S90 call in?
No, not yet.
Add S90, man. He wants to. I want him to come on. He's dropping links in there.
Okay. Yeah,
and it's Ground Zero Plus. Come on down and become supporters, man. We're brand new. We're the new kids on the block, and you know, of course, Ground Zero is here every night, Monday through Friday, and at his normal time, 7 Pacific. And you can find all kinds of great shows here, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Chris France over there busting ass, making it look nice, making it work. You know, and everybody's happy. So come on down, become supporters, and you know, it makes things nice and easy, and that's cool, and that's what we like. Keeping it simple. You know what they used to, you know, there's a saying in AA, and it says keep it simple, stupid. You know, so you can keep it simple. That way, you want us to keep uncomplicated because the less complicated your life is, the better and more serene you can be. Here's John Butcher Axis with Wishes. Mine's Jimmy. Send the microcosm 718-618-9905 is the number to call.
as you lay down your weary head. But don't worry, cause the dawn is breaking in another room halfway around the world. And you can't waste your life wishing upon a star, cause if wishes were horses,
It's the Saturday night chilluminatti.
if wishes were horses, then dreamers would ride. Yes, they would. A girl lives her life missing some things that she never had. Spends too much time in the unemployment line. You see in her eyes that it drives her mad. Deep within her constitution, her pride and her dignity shown through. So she wants that dream, cause it's all she can do. If wishes were horses, if wishes were horses, she says if wishes were horses,
average age of the world's great
then
civilizations has been around 200 years. These nations have progressed through this sequence from bondage to spiritual faith, from spiritual faith to great courage, from great courage to liberty, and from liberty to abundance, from abundance to selfishness, from selfishness to complacency, from complacency to apathy, and from apathy back to dependence, and from dependence back to bondage, back to bondage, back to bondage. Logic alone would tell you the republic is being destroyed. The republic is being destroyed by European secret societies operating under Rome, and nobody seems to know anything about it. Criminals are always organized, that's why they're always superior. Good people never get organized. Only criminals get organized. They operate in the dark, totally ruthless. High crime and treason against the American Republic.
718-618-9905 is the number to call. Rockin' Rio's here, Epic Journeyman's here, Cax here, Springfield's here. Who else is here? Somebody else here? I don't know who else is here.
S90's here.
S90. All right, S90. Stand by.
Blow a kiss from your hand, catch it for it hits the ground. Cry a little for our fears, baby, baby. I'm so scared. There's something wrong. I need you in the corner of my empty room. Never really cared till now. Not standing in the corner for me anymore. You've done your time. Pass your sentence and I'll pass mine. Oh, when my time is through, can I still come home to you? Anytime, anytime you want me. Anytime, anytime you're lonely. Just have to come.
That's the Michael Schenker group.
Anytime, anytime you need me. Anytime, anytime you're dreaming. Waking up all alone, your heart is screaming. No, I caused you so much pain. I promise that I'll never hurt you again.
I'm sorry, I was checking TalkStream Live. I forgot we were on there tonight. I'm not used to being on TalkStream Live on Saturday night, but you can find the icon over there. It's the Clyde Lewis with the glowing red reflections on his sunglasses. There goes the Michael Schenker group. That guy, Michael Schenker group, played at a club I worked at called Keystone Palo Alto. I worked there for 9 years, and they played there. And Michael Schenker, when he was there, this was back in the day when Walkmans were still around, and they had a thing called the Rockman, and you used to plug it into your guitar and just you could have it on your belt. Michael Schenker.
I had one.
Did you? They were badass. Michael Schenker sat there the whole time, hours and hours and hours before he was going on stage, and all he did was just play. He was just playing riffs, up and down the neck, up and down the neck. Literally unbelievable. Michael Schenker on the Michael Schenker group. All right, listen, we don't have much time. We're running out of time, so it's we got 40. We're at 9:42. 718-618-9905 is the number to call. So anybody on the call, jump in, give us your final thoughts about what's going on here, and then we'll finish up with some stuff here I got. Springfield, you still there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Jump in here, Springfield.
Well, actually, I had something on the bot I was trying to talk about last time, which was the first ChatGPT I ever knew about was like a clever bot. It was just a bot you'd sit there and talk to, so it's clever bot in 2007. Mm-hmm. That was my earliest large language model interactions.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure it was just a predecessor for what we have now.
Well, so the thing is about it is that these large language models is what got us started on some of this material that we've landed on, because it was the learning about this level 5 classification that happens to people inside this ChatGPT, and because it seems benign, even I was fooled by it and didn't really pay attention to it like the thing that it actually is. Like, I didn't realize it was like a smart device that was profiling me and listening to me and registering my emotions when I got pissed off when it didn't do what it's supposed to do. And the thing was, it pissed me off on purpose. And the funny thing was, we found out that that's what happens to people that get flagged at level 5, that the ChatGPT will stop in the middle of stuff will disappear, it'll give you lame answers, it'll stall, it'll keep going back, it'll keep going in loops, and it does it on purpose to get you pissed off. And eventually I did get pissed off. Eventually I did start dropping F-bombs. You know what I mean? So the thing is, man, it played me, and I'm just saying, I found out about it through this. It said I was a threat. Okay? So that's how we found out about all this stuff. But other than that, if we wouldn't have found out about it, we're just, you're just going along, getting along, just playing games with ChatGPT.
Right.
It's not a game.
We don't want to assume that things are so nefarious. That's why it takes advantage of the good nature, really, to not always be on your guard.
Yeah, some level people call that kind of a person a sucker. Because you know what I mean. There's a sucker born every minute. Because
Speaking of games and suckers, Jimmy, did I get this working?
Go ahead. Yeah, there you are, S90. Come on in.
Okay, sorry guys. I've been fighting with Teams and what was formerly Skype, and oh my goodness gracious. Sorry, all I did was earlier you were talking about how things are online when they shouldn't be.
Right.
And right now the giant game developer Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed, things like that, other predictive programming things like the game series Far Cry and Watch Dogs, which is about hacking and whatnot. They're being sued right now in Europe by a group called NOYB, which means none of your business.
Wow.
And they basically uncovered that they were pinging, like even when you're playing a single player game by yourself, they were pinging you for data and, usage and whatnot. And in essence, they were violating European law for forcing players online when a game doesn't have online functionality. And so, it's almost like they're trying half to harvest your data, and then the other half is to try and sort of getting you used to being online at all times. And like the caller said, it doesn't have to be nefarious necessarily, but it is bad for society, because I feel like that's kind of how we end up in, like the TV screen and Idiocracy.
Yeah.
where there's like the show in the middle, and then there's all the ads around it and stuff, and you can't escape any of it.
Well-
Like, you know, at the very least, it would end up like something like that. You're playing a video game, and there's ads all over the corner.
Well, here's the thing, man.
You're offline.
S90. Here's the thing: is what was bad is like, imagine a vacuum cleaner inside of shit that you're paying for, like games. Like, so what they do is, let's just say this. Here, let me throw you some Jimmy business sense, okay? Look at, if I'm making this game, and it's gonna cost me $5 million to make it, okay? Now I go over to you with your vacuum cleaner company, and I tell you, hey, buddy, tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you a permission to suck emotional data out of these video games. All you got to do is pay me $5 million. So there's a secret back door in all this shit, and people are paying to get in there. They're paying to sniff and suck and scrape your information out of there, to the point where they could get you yelling at your screen, like I was.
And I think it has to go far deeper than just advertising dollars. There's more to it than just, you know, putting up the ad for the latest model of the Hoover.
No,
Rio, think what value player, especially shooter games, what is known as first-person shooters, where you are in the first-person view and the gun is in your hand and you're looking down the barrel of the gun.
Yeah.
Think what value first-person shooter tactics necessarily, like knowing when to hide, when you're real, all these different things that you could distill down millions of first-person shooter players, professional ones, good ones, you know, not bad players, but you take all that data, compress it down kind of, and you might have like a war bot personality, you know, or sort of the way of thinking to put in a two-legged war fighting robot, right? A humanoid.
Well, here's the thing. What if
Fortnite
this
is the ideal example of it? If
what if you could be sitting there and you're looking for super soldiers, you're looking for stone cold killers. I'm gonna call you back to a movie that was put on Netflix where you could choose the ending, you know, and so the psychological profile is being built by the ending you chose. You're now in a group. You're in a group of people in a bag, okay, and so that bag is your filter bubble, you know. So I don't know, man. It's a super intense subject. It's Ground Zero Plus S90. Jump in.
Well,
So
I did say, like, the original. I want to follow up on it. That's not and then go on from there. But this theme is presented in the 1984 movie The Last Starfighter, where the actual arcade stand-up game is picking the people and profiling them to be the last Starfighter, right?
Yes,
Starfighter. Yeah.
Kind of like almost like Ender's Game, but rather than trying out in a school setting, it's in a video game.
Yeah,
setting.
exactly like that.
That's a storyline of a lot of games actually, and a lot of like Japanese anime stuff. But there was like you. Not only is it creating a profile on you so it can, you know, exploit and manipulate your psyche, but it can also harvest sort of the best of us and use that to construct a new personality, like Jimmy was kind of saying yesterday. And like I wanted to bring up that company Picus, to bring up video games again, in the Deus Ex video game, which is considered essentially, you know, pre-programming.
It's profound.
Picus is a news company which runs an AI, basically the perfect person distilled from all of human understanding of what people like. They made this AI avatar for the news lady, and everyone genuinely thinks she's real until you, the character, uncover, oh, look, it's been an AI this whole time.
And if you look into that company, that's exactly what they're doing in the real world.
Exactly. Like what?
We've talked about this. We've talked about the ability to make someone appear to you a certain way, and like when Obama said change, everybody thought that he meant the change they wanted. He never said what the change was going to be. He just said change. The same thing with this.
And the same thing with Q. You make a statement, and you basically allow people to misunderstand it themselves, right? There was a psychologist who did an analysis of Q, and they were talking about that, about how it essentially leaves it open, its statements open-ended enough for you to draw your own conclusion that makes you happy, right?
Yeah, we had Manny on the show, man. I mean, that's the thing. Like that, the whole story is out there. We
the
know
thing is, that was an
that.
operation, man, and that was Jade Helm 2, and I've talked about it before, because what they did was in Jade Helm 1, they put about a bunch of information where everybody, all the people in the alternative media was sending each other all these emails and they're messaging each other about these Walmarts and all this shit, and they built this whole list, and then what they did from that list is they built a tree. And then what they did with that tree is they took and they fed that tree certain information from this whole Q thing to certain individuals, you know. And it's like when you feed poison to a rat, okay, it takes the poison and drags it back into the nest, and then everybody eats it.
They picked their whales, right? The influencers that they wanted to have the most influence around, these circles of influence. And once they targeted those people propagated it, right? In other words, they didn't have to target 5 million people to get 200 million people. They targeted 50,000 people to get 100 million people, because those people had spheres of influence. I mean, deliberately targeted those people, right? Deliberately. Like through sleep deprivation and Cambridge Analytica style targeted psychographics, and then making them, you know, nudge them to look at certain things through YouTube and things like that. That when you're in a state of sleep deprivation, it has that cognitive dissonance, make it stick, right? I mean, it's brainwashing in the highest degree, and yeah,
and it's automatic. It's automatic. It's just running out there. There's nobody in control of it, and the parts of it that are under control. We just saw this video we put up there about this guy John Flynn, you know, showing that the woman had her own individual frequency, and she was being transmitted to, you know, cause and effect in her life. And that's what we're talking about tonight. I wish we were just talking about science fiction, but unfortunately it's science fact.
I know, right?
It's science fact. AS90.
Yes, sorry.
No, it's all right.
There.
Yeah, no, it's okay. We're coming up at the end of the show, though. It's, we got about 7 minutes left. So, any final thoughts from you guys before we head on out?
Definitely want us to have a couple.
Oh, no, I was just going to say we're already terminally online, and it's only going to get worse as it, you know, invades other aspects of our life further and further, down to washing the dishes or ordering the groceries or whatever.
You're never offline anymore, because now you're part of the Internet of Things. You are a thing.
And people assume that you're always, because you can always be. I was actually having this conversation earlier about cell phones, because you're now. You used to have to call someone, and if they weren't at home, too bad, they were unavailable. Now everyone is quote unquote available. Everyone gets really mad if you don't give them all the time of day, respond instantly, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I mean. It's just only going to get worse.
Yeah.
Yep, we just got to do what we can. Cover your front-facing camera with some tape and don't talk to text.
Well, listen.
I have a question to ask the skipper.
Go
Jimmy.
ahead. Let her rip.
Did MIT respond yet, or
No.
are we standing by?
No, it typically is 21 days before you hear anything. But I got to be honest, man. I'm honest about this. I started thinking about it yesterday, and I started to regret that I sent it there, because it put me on the fucking radar, man. Like not over here with our little YouTube channel, or over there on Ground Zero Plus. Nobody's ever heard of us and what we think, and now I all of a sudden put it in print and send it over to the very people that are designing the shit that we're talking about for their review in an unknown name. Now, I was going to send this over to Doc McCarran, because he is a neuroscientist, and maybe he would be interested in getting involved in some of the research on this particular subject matter, and then we could put a paper together and it would actually have validity, because old Jimmy doesn't have no validity as far as the system's concerned. But over here, Ground Zero Plus, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Pacific, and we are going to definitely make you feel good, and you can count on that. Now, Rock and Reel, you're going to be here?
Possibly.
Okay, well, maybe Rock and Reel will be here. Maybe he won't. You never know. But listen, it's Jim Ladd style radio around here. It's organic, man. There's no playlists. I start with one song and go from there. So you never know what's going to happen. All right, well, listen. I think it's time we get the F out. You guys ready to go?
Let's go.
All right.
About that time.
I really appreciate you guys all being here. So we're going to exit stage left, but we're going to be on YouTube for a few minutes after we go dark here on Ground Zero Plus. If you want to come over and say goodbye, we really appreciate each and every one of you. And like I say, if you want some, get behind the wall there. You got to put the wall up, man. You know, and we're talking about doing some really cool stuff today on the Ground Zero Plus conference call. And there's some tech talk and stuff going on about the potential future and what it's going to look like as far as keeping our stuff off the, having our own private situation offshore so that nothing can be handled behind our backs. All right, we're about out of here.
Copy that.
It's Ground Zero Plus. Stay tuned for something great.
Some velvet morning when I'm straight, I'm gonna open up your gate and maybe tell you about Phaedra and how she gave me life and how she made it in some velvet morning when I'm straight.
Flowers growing on a hill, dragonflies and daffodils learn from us very much. Look at us, but do not touch.
Hey, remember Art Bell. Remember Kev Baker. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Stay tuned. Keep it locked. Keep it locked. Ground Zero Plus. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
This storm is coming like a ghost town.
right, man. We're off the network, but we're just here with everybody on YouTube. Hey, Johnny, what's happening? What's up, Matt? What's up, Karen? What's up, TV? What's up, Linda? Woohoo! Amber, too. What's up, Sam? What's up, Zen? Good to see you.
Gotta start calling the U crew.
The ghost signal. Yeah. You're receiving the ghost signal now. Alright, so I was able to get in the chat over there. So we could be over there in the chat. Hey Wanda, what's happening? Good to see you. So everybody, it's time for us to get out. When I was a little kid, I had this friend named Roddy Hall, and he had, his parents were a little older, and they had this dog named Coco, and he had this alcoholic dad that used to sit in the living room and get drunk, and whenever Coco would come in the house, his dad would go, "Coco, get out!"
Poor Coco.
Coco,
yeah,
get out! And that dude's older brother told me and Roddy to go over in the schoolyard, and he'd try to shoot us with BB guns. So we go over in the.
Oh, great!
We were across the street from the school, and his older brother was like 18 years old, and he'd sit over there trying to pick us off with BB guns. And this one day, I was hiding behind the meters, like the gas meters, and there was nothing sticking out, but my finger was on the top of this thing, and he shot me right in the fucking fingernail. Coco, get out!